Great. So welcome everybody to our Team Vaccination, now Team SuperPatch, Team Patchination, team training call for Monday, March 20th. So I'm absolutely excited to have our guest trainer tonight from corporate. His name is Mr. Ron Hoover. Now, I've known Ron for about 25 years, and there may be some of you on here that have met Ron before. He always does an amazing and thorough job when he talks to the field or trains the field. And for any new guests that are on here, we welcome you if you're a new guest, a new associate, or someone that's here just looking, because we are having some phenomenal results with athletes, and not necessarily elite or professional athletes, but amateur that are working their way to an elite level. And certainly we couldn't have a better man to talk to us about this than my good buddy Ron Hoover. Ron and I have known each other for 25 years. We actually played hockey together. We actually coached together. And Ron was the captain of Western Michigan in Division I school, and then went on to play in the NHL, and had an injury serious injury to his ankle, where I think he still got 7 or 8 pins in his ankle that made a change to his career. But there's nobody that's had better success that I know of than Ron getting our technology on athletes, and not just elite athletes, but the weekend warrior, the amateur athlete. And what we wanted to do tonight is I wanted Ron to share with the field sort of the successes he's been having with sharing technology, how he shares it, a little bit of background for some possible guests that might be on here that are very close to joining our mission and utilizing the technology, possibly in a customer mode right now. We welcome you here, and we want you to learn, and we certainly want you to join us. And Ron was one of the first people that I went to way back when in late September, when Jay first introduced me to the prototypes of this product. And like most people at times, he was a little skeptical, but boy, after he started wearing it, and after we went through 4 or 5 pairs of insoles from his other shoes that didn't work, he was convinced that there was definitely something going on. So we've kind of evolved from where we are with the original technology. And what we certainly have proved with our technology, Ron, is that wearable neurotech is here to stay. Wearable technology, drug-free technology that elicits a response in our brain was certainly the grassroots of our company was the socks and insoles. And now we just keep getting better and better. So I'm excited to have Ron here tonight to talk to us about the importance of our technology with athletics and athleticism, and certainly recovery. So my good friend, my good pal, we play a lot of golf together. We do a lot of things together, and I'm just ecstatic to have you here, buddy. So welcome. Take it away.
Thank you, Terry. Did you say you made me a co-host here? Let me see if I can.
Yeah, you should be able to share your screen.
Share that. Pull it up here. All right, Terry, can you see that?
Yeah, we're all good.
All good. All righty. First of all, I just want to say welcome to everybody, and certainly thanks for the invite, Terry, and thanks for allowing me to come on tonight and talk a little bit more about athletics and recovery. It's been a long journey since we first were introduced to these amazing products that Jay invented about 6 years ago. And I think the most important thing for people to realize is that we really come a long way. So tonight, we wanted to talk about improving performance and recovery in athletics, and how our super patches can make an immediate impact on performance and recovery. So for those of you who don't know me, a little bit about my background, I was fortunate enough years ago in the early 90s to play for the Boston Bruins. we had the pleasure of knocking out the Montreal Canadiens in the conference final, for any of you Hab fans out there. And we eventually went on to play Pittsburgh in the semifinals. I remember, I think I told you this story before, Terry. We ended up winning the first 2 games in the semifinals. And it was interesting because I called all my friends back in Oakville and I told them, I said, get ready because we're going to have a big celebration soon. And I'm going to bring that cup back home to Oakville. Well, as a 26-year-old, I didn't realize that don't count your chickens before they're hatched. And they went on to beat us 4 straight. They had the likes of Mario Lemieux, Jaromir Jagr, and a number of amazing hockey players that went on to win the Stanley Cup that year. The following year, I played in St. Louis for a bit at the beginning. Unfortunately, got sent down and spent the rest of my career, which was almost 9 years in the minors, played over 650 games. So I got a pretty good understanding of hockey, performance and recovery. And also, like Terry said, had my own issues with a broken leg where I've still got a plate and screws in there as well. So, way back, going back, joining Vox Life was an incredible experience, and we were introduced to some amazing products. What was really interesting in the last little while is being introduced to our new SuperPatch and the SuperPatch company. And why I think that's important, people who have tried our product or people who don't know about our product, it's 100% drug free. Here's an example of one of the patches right here. We've already served over 1 million customers. We've got amazing clinical trial results with our pain patch, and hopefully soon to be released REM patch study. We, from an athletic standpoint, often see immediate improvement benefits right away when individuals use our product. It's FDA registered. We have a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's really no risk in trying it. And our user rating is very high with at least 95%. And most people that I introduce it to, they certainly don't stop using it. So one of the important things to know for those people who don't know or want to learn a little bit more, how does it work? Well, it basically starts with a special tactile pattern. And that pattern is either woven into the bottom of a pair of socks and knitted into the bottom, which we have different kinds, or embedded into our wearable patches. Now, essentially what it's doing, it's triggering a response. In layman's terms, it's affecting the body and we're feeling the difference. Now, once these patches or these socks come in contact with the encrypted pattern, the bottom of the skin area, it appears to trigger that neural response that sends information from the receptors to your brainstem. And by doing so, we're affecting the body. And our central nervous system then distributes those commands to our peripheral nervous system, affecting various functions in the body, either from pain regulation to motor control and balance. And this is also important whether you're an athlete or just for the regular person. And by feeling the difference, we often see immediate impacts. And as an athlete, that's truly beneficial. The effects instant, ranging from improved balance, mobility, and pain management to better energy levels. So maintaining optimal neurology and assisting your body to achieve and maintain optimal health and performance. So obviously, these are very key components to an athlete, no matter what level of talent you are. So once again, it's a vibral tactile technology. And these ridges that look like the QR code interact with our body's nervous system. So it's sending a message to your brain, allowing the brain to reach homeostasis through our nervous system. And obviously, we're going to feel that difference. So, as an athlete, people always ask, well, why would you wear Vox Life or why would you wear SuperPatch as well? If I look back on my career when I played, I was always looking for just a 1 to 2% increase in performance or some way to be a better version of myself. We've looked at certain studies or things that we've done, and when you see improvements in balance and stability of around 30%, increased range of motion of 15, which, for golfers or goalies or whatever sport you are in, is a huge advantage. Now, when it comes to power and velocity of force, in today's game, everything happens so quickly. The players are extremely large, they're fast, everything happens quickly, whether you're on the ice, on the court, or whatever sport you're playing. So it's vitally important to be able to have some kind of competitive advantage because the quality and the skill level of all athletes is remarkable these days. So originally, this was the way to go. We started off originally with a pair of socks. Here's our no-shows. Here's our athletic knee highs that hockey players often use when they play. The no-shows are great for training in the gym or riding the bike or whatever they're doing from a cardiovascular standpoint. So that's where we sort of started off originally. We have a number of different players at very high levels who use our technology. In the bottom, you can see a recent picture of Alex DeBrincat, who is now with the Ottawa Senators and previously with the Chicago Blackhawks. Hawks up in the top left. He's one of the top premier scorers in the NHL and has been for years. Ryan Donato is on the Seattle Kraken. He scored the first goal in Seattle Kraken history. I remember 2 years ago introducing the technology to him, and he instantly thought this was a great idea. He's a Harvard graduate and a very smart young man, and knew that this was making a difference in his ability to play and also recover. So what was important is, he's graduated now to all our different patches, and I'll talk a little bit about those in a few minutes. So now obviously things have changed. So we see with our SuperPatch company, and when you relate things to athletics, what things are important? Well, focus, so attention, clarity, and calmness. No matter what sport you're playing, these are all key attributes that any high-end athlete or even weekend warrior regular athlete wants to incorporate when they're playing. Our victory patch, more speed, power, energy. These are all important things, especially in today's world. These athletes train constantly. They have the best equipment, best trainers. They're eating, and all the things that they do off the ice or whatever sport they're playing lets them be the best version of themselves. And one thing that I've really noticed that's making a huge difference, and we'll love to talk about here, is our REM patch. So, this healthy sleep assistant rejuvenation of the mind and body, and is a key factor in performance and recovery. And I never actually thought that this patch would end up being one of the athlete's favorite products. So here I'm just going to go over a little bit of an example of an individual who sent this to me. He's a player at the Division I level. And previous to the technology, he sent me some screenshots of a wearable technology that he wears, Whoop, and it measures different things like how much time you're awake, your light sleep, your deep sleep, and your REM sleep. And what you can see is in the first two slides here, you can see a typical night's sleep of REM sleep for this individual. Once he started using the technology over a 2-week period, he was astounded to see the difference in his REM sleep. And he took screenshots of this and sent them to me, and it was quite remarkable. And this is feedback. You can see an increase here and an increase here over a 2-week period of what was happening with this specific individual. So that was one thing that I found, not only with him, but also other players at elite levels. This slide here, just want to illustrate one little thing. The same individual sent me a picture here showing his recovery. And you can see over the 1-week period, what was happening when he first started using tech and incorporating it for a week period. He couldn't believe the dramatic increase in his recovery scores. So these are same thing, scores on a wearable technology that all produce quantitative output. So obviously increase in recovery by incorporating REM patches with victory and focus. Patches leads to improvement in recovery, which leads to different things like improved energy, improved focus, improved performance, and improved results. And we're definitely seeing that, and I'll allude to that in a few minutes. Now, for me personally, I knew that this technology, when I first started using it, was making a difference. But one of the things I wasn't sure about was, how do I quantify this? And this, I just put this slide up, and this is kind of from a little while back to show, before HPT technology or what we originally started out with, and I only wore socks at that time, what was happening. And you can see the ability to process information on the left. There's a bit of a lag time. The picture in the middle, you can see right after incorporating the tech, things start to improve. And after wearing 8 months, you see a significant increase. So for me, I thought that was incredible. I definitely knew that there was an increase in what was happening, and that was proof in the pudding and objective information that I knew this technology was making a difference. This example is Ryan Gregnell. Is from Kitchener. He's a previous Canadian long drive champ. He started off just with our socks and our insoles, and he eventually graduated to all 3 of our patches. He incorporates the victory patch. He wears the socks during the day because he loves the way they feel. He loves what the technology did for him. But he switched to using a victory patch 24/7 because he understands the improvement in how he feels, number one, and also number two, his performance levels. So he's got that, a focus patch, which is important for a golfer, and also anybody, especially hockey players or other sports where they're looking to either shoot baskets or get dialed in on the specific sport that they're playing. And then obviously he's incorporated the REM patch because he told me, and he's I believe the second fastest swing speed now in the world, at 233.7, which is remarkable behind Kyle Berkshire. He said, I don't know if I would have been able to attain some of these numbers. So this technology has definitely helped him. He works extremely hard at all facets of the game, both in the gym and anything else that he can do to be a better athlete. So it's been impressive to see his gains and his improvements and how well he's done. And this was just an example a couple of weeks ago when he competed in Nevada and ended up tied for 5th amongst some of the best people in the world. I got this off, I think, from Terry. Cody Crowley is a world-class boxer, and he was introduced to our technology years ago, started wearing our socks and back in the day. And also, for boxers, they take a lot of abuse physically. So to be brain mapped and see how our technology has an improvement, not only from a neurological standpoint, but also from a physical standpoint, is quite remarkable. So he's another example of an elite athlete and how it's helped him. I believe he has a fight coming up in a couple of weeks. This story here is something that I think I'm most proud of. My son went to Canisius College and was an outstanding athlete there, was captain his last year, and he went on to have a successful career after Canisius as well. But they introduced the socks and the knee highs to the team a few years ago. So they've been very familiar in wearing our technology. When I learned about what was happening with our focus patch, our REM patch, and our victory patches, I sat down and I said, this is something if you want to take your game to another level. And it's interesting because, a couple months ago, they were struggling to get home ice into the playoffs. And I just got back from the game on Saturday night, and they ended up winning the Atlantic Hockey Division Championship and are now moving on to the final 16 later on this week. So a huge improvement. Kudos to these kids for wanting to improve their neurology and and be the best version of themselves. And you see with different athletes, all at different levels. I've seen this in college. I've seen it in junior. I've seen it in lower levels that people incorporate the tech. They're all seeing the same results. So,
hey, Ron.
Yeah.
Excuse me just for 1 second. Correct me if I'm wrong. Canisius, back in his not that far back, I think I'm talking February, we're struggling to make a playoff spot, were they not?
Yeah, no, and this is a drastic turnaround, and I couldn't believe how well these kids played and how throughout the game they just seemed to be making proper decisions. Their energy levels, the recovery, it was just fantastic. And proofs in the pudding when people all pull on the rope the same way. It's different when I've had teams where I have a couple guys wearing it at very high levels, NHL draft picks, and they're great teams, but you sit there and think, okay, if everyone incorporates this, and I have other teams who just wear our short socks and our knee-high socks, and they haven't really understood the full impact and the benefits of incorporating all the patches as well. So I think it's only a matter of time.
That's a great point. I mean, if everybody's pulling on the rope the same way, that's incredible. But I don't think people maybe understand how difficult it is to go at this level, to go from struggling to make playoffs to going to winning your conference. That's unheard of in a lot of cases. But as you say, with all the players and all the team getting the benefits of the power play line of the focus, the victory, as I call it, and the REM sleep, I call it the power play line. It's really unheard of to see a team go from struggling to make playoffs to winning the conference championship, and kudos to you for that, and kudos for being persistent over the last couple of years, even though Matt hasn't played there in a few years. kudos to you to stay in touch with the coaching staff, the training staff, and getting these guys all set up for success with our technology. I think it's a brilliant story. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, I think it's something that definitely will resonate with people in the future, and I think it's going to be. I'm super excited about what these patches are doing, at any level. But to see these kind of results and to see how it affects players is truly remarkable. So this slide here, just sleep like never before. I think people are very aware how many people suffer from chronic sleep problems, which obviously leads to injuries, chronic disease, mental illness, poor quality of life. But I think the biggest thing is, in performance and recovery. Healthy sleep assists in the rejuvenation of the mind and the body, and it's a key factor in performance and recovery. And these are things here that, I don't think this is gospel. I mean, I'm just telling you what I've had success with. Obviously, people at different levels might just want to use socks. Some people might just want to use a victory patch. Some, and Terry, we talked about this earlier today. The victory and the focus patch are important for performance, but also focus. Even if you're not at an elite level, you're still either in high school or you're going to university. And these are key components on, not only your performance level, but how well you do in school. I had a young man from Harvard who uses all our technology, and he told me he's an econ major, and he said that for reading and studying and writing tests, and the other kids at the other school said the same thing. I mean, these are benefits that are sort of off ice. So this applies to everything, not only what we do as an elite athlete, a weekend warrior, or just somebody who's, wants to be a better version of themselves and looking to, it could be an adult who has a job and has a presentation or wants to learn more. So there's a multitude of applications and reasons to wear these, but I would highly suggest that if you want to be the best version of yourself, I would incorporate all three of these. And if you look at two of them, really, you're giving up what, $3 a day. I mean, it's a coffee. You and I went to Starbucks earlier in the week, and I think you get a big one, you're up at over $5 a coffee. So if someone wants to be the best version of themselves, they can sacrifice certain things in order to do that. And I think it's something that everybody's capable of sharing, and I would highly recommend that people.
Yeah, and I think, Ron, the thing that there's a few things coming in the chat feed. People that are Detroit fans, Dukes, and people that are the Habs fans, which is Monica Warner. But anyways, all in good fun. But this combination, I mean, we've talked a lot about hockey and golf here, but this combination of the victory, the focus, and the REM. Would you suggest to the field that this is a winning combination to start with for any athlete in any sport?
Absolutely. And I've been focusing on hockey, but I'll just give you a perfect example. I got a message today, and I didn't have a chance to put a new slide up. I got a message from a neighbor's son, who Austin Snyder, who just won the collegiate curling championship, and which is a huge honor. And his text to me was, I always wear the socks when I play. For balance, stability, power. I mean, these are incredible things. So it's not just hockey. We're talking hockey, golf. I mean, I've got so many stories with basketball kids who couldn't dunk and couldn't do certain things, and now are excelling at their sport. So a perfect example is rugby. Also, we had the Queens women's rugby team. Their results were outstanding. So football, you name it. There isn't one sport, lacrosse. Everybody who is an athlete at any level should have some form of this tech on, and if they don't, they're missing out. And we talked about it earlier. In the game of hockey nowadays, I remember when my kid was growing up, Matt, sticks nowadays, $250 for a stick, top of the end Bauer skates, $1,000. I mean, these prices are outrageous for people trying to be a better version of them. And I'll be honest with you, you grew up with Wayne Gretzky, so that it's not the stick, it's the sticker. So
yeah, and I think the biggest thing is I mean, parents get a little bit delusional at times, that instead of looking at a modality that's going to make a player faster, stronger, better balanced, which will then give him the ability to use the technology of a top of the line hockey stick. teach them how to be stronger, teach them how to be better. And our technology certainly allows that to happen with a sport. And I think one of the key factors that we talk about, and it's one of the first things that you and I talked to teams about, Ron, way back in the beginning, was especially at the amateur level, where kids are playing for the fun of the sport as opposed to try and get to an elite level. And I've seen a couple of kids get injured very, very seriously. Michael Stevens with a broken neck, and the sheer terror on a parent's face when they see a kid's injury of that magnitude, and the kid not moving on, whether it's football, whether it's hockey, lacrosse, any contact sport. I think one of the things that we really have to not lose sight of is the fact that the Victory patch and or Liberty, the Victory gives an enhanced version of our Liberty patch for geared towards sports and performance, but we can't lose sight about how important it is that if we improve balance, strength, and range of motion, how that's going to reduce the risk of injury, especially for lower level, players at an amateur, minor hockey, minor baseball level, minor, football, whatever. Would you agree with that?
I would totally agree with it. And you know what? There's a lot more of those individuals out there that are playing. So really that pertains to the majority of athletes that are out there. We're talking a select few that some of the ones I'm dealing with, numbers really aren't that great when you compare it to the overall number of people who compete and play, sports. So you're 100% right. And I think that's important. Like I said, any sport you play, and we saw it when we went to the Gretzky Center years ago, and the whole pitch back then was just because these were single A kids. They could skate better. Their parents saw them doing better on the ice. They were happy that they were probably a little safer because the balance and stability and the extra power they had allowed them to not potentially have something devastating or catastrophic happen. So it doesn't say that it's not, but it certainly reduces or mitigates the chances of those things happening. So for sure, that is the big group of people. And I think that's what our associates or people who are on the call should be thinking about. There's only a small percentage at the super high levels, but the average public or, friends of theirs or people that they know, that's how these things are going to benefit them. And it applies to every sport, every level. So you're 100% right, Terry.
Well, I think I don't know whether you remember when we were looking at the prototypes of this, and I remember, it was like minor novice or something. It was kind of, it was that hub league or A level, and there was really no strategy to the game. It was kind of every kid just chases the puck all over the ice, and they bump into each other and they fall and they do whatever. And I can remember the one dad that bought a pair of socks way back in the beginning after we did the lateral dynamic stability assessment, and had him do it on his kid. And his kid might have been 7 years old or whatever. And I can remember him coming back to the booth. And when you watch that level of hockey, it's just like a beehive. They're all just swarming, chasing the puck.
Yeah.
And he came back and he was so ecstatic that his kid got 3 goals in a 4-3 victory on a team that they had never beat. And his kid got 3 of the goals because he said, my kid was wearing the technology and he was the only one that stayed on his feet. So when everybody fell, the puck was sitting there. He just took it, went down and scored. And he was pretty excited. So, when you think about that at such a grassroots level, that kid had an advantage because he was able to stay on his feet, right? And so, you then take that and take a look at what it could do for the average athlete that has some talent behind him and plays in a contact sport where there is actually a hockey IQ needed, and playing positions and hits into the boards and stuff, that certainly wearing our technology in the Victory, the Focus and the REM is going to improve his ability to not only think the game, but to see the game, to avoid off balance checks. And if he does get checked, there's a good chance that he'll resist the check and stay on his feet. So I think that's an important factor for sure. And I think we think about athletes, and I know that I've been here since the beginning, as you have. And I think one of the biggest things with athletes, some people get a little bit afraid to talk to athletes. And I know that people in the chat have said, hey, I've got friends that have kids on baseball teams in college, and there's probably other people that have, people in tennis scholarships, you name it. But as a sport, I mean, really, it's not rocket science. So how would you suggest, if the field is going to approach athletes, parents with college athletes, kids with minor hockey, or parents with kids in minor hockey or minor sports, how would you suggest that they approach these people, Ron?
Well, Terry, I'm glad you asked that question. And I will, oh, I lost myself here for 1 second. It's real simple, Terry. We talked about it earlier today. I think it's really as simple as basically going up to someone and saying, listen, if I had a drug-free solution that could help improve your performance and recovery, would you take a look? And I think every associate, should have a 4-pack of victory patches or focus patches or REM patches, or have these samples on their person at all times. And just simply ask those individuals one simple question. We've got a website that you can send them. You can send them your URL to have them go take a look at what's going on. You've got testimonial pages that show, what people think of our products. And I don't think you have to overcomplicate it. And then let them make the decision. The biggest thing is, Jay's always preached this from day one: get product on people. And the fact that they came out with these 4-packs, and the fact that the patches last 24/7, because some people are delusional in the sense that, they put a pair of socks on and they play one game for 2 hours, or they go to the gym and they think everything is going to change. What I like about this is, 4 patches over a 4-day period, 24/7, there's a lot better chance or difference of seeing an improvement. And like we've always said, hey, try it for a month and then get off of it and see what happens. We have a money back guarantee, so there's no risk. And I'd like to say one more thing about that. I've had 2 of my top end athletes tell me one thing, and I learned this because they both told me the same story. They thought there was an issue. They were wearing the socks and they said, I'm not feeling as good as I did before. And I said, well, are you changing your sleeping habits? Or are you changing the way you eat? What's different in your life? And both of them said nothing had changed. But then further down the conversation, they both said the same thing. Well, I had my patches and I ran out of them for a week and I stopped using them. And we've talked about this before. The only way you seem to get to people to know that they feel different is to use something for a while and then maybe stop using it. And that's a true indication of let them be the judge of their body and how they feel, because at the end of the day, they know, even at the lesser levels. So I think this is a simple way that everybody could take this simple slide, incorporate it into what you do. You're not going to offend anybody, and a lot of the people say, sure, I'll take a look. And do you have something that I can buy, or where can I go and purchase this?
Well, I think the other thing that we have to really be aware of, the patches are no substitute for talent. I mean,
No.
you have to have talent in your sport for sure. I mean, if you hit a big slice in golf, and our victory patch or our liberty patch, victory is the same as liberty, basically enhanced for sport. But if you're wearing the victory patch and you've got a terrible swing, it's just going to make your terrible swing that much more powerful, and you're just going to hit it further out of bounds. So we have to be aware that, when we talk to athletes or parents of athletes, this isn't going to turn your child into a world beater, but it is going to give you benefits, certainly to make your child safer. But people that are at a higher level, they see their personal best. They're quite aware of their personal bests on how fast they skate, how much weight they push, how long they can have endurance for on the court, and certainly how fast they recover after their sport, which I think, as you said before, is just absolutely imperative that they continue to wear it after their sport. In other words, they don't just wear it while they play, because I tell people, listen, when you get your neurology straight and you help balance your neurology and get your sleep, you didn't get this way overnight. You're not going to fix it overnight. So this is not a pill, it's a process.
Yeah.
And so people, because we've been cattle driven down the road of pharmaceuticals at times, and I'm not putting any slam on pharmaceuticals per se, because I think in some cases they do have their place. But certainly when you get your neurology right and then the physiology starts to come in line, it is a process. And people have to be aware that there's a reason why we have a 30-day money-back guarantee and not a 3-hour money-back guarantee or a 3-day money-back guarantee. So we have to educate our users to let them have a look and encourage them to continue to utilize the technology and let their body adjust and let their body get better and let their body heal if that's what it needs, based on getting the neurology in the best place. And I think that's a very, very important point. And it's certainly, you and I were both part of a study. I had some concussion damage from hockey that I didn't know was there, but I knew that I had trouble with task orientation. And again, 9 months after, I had my brain mapping done from the beginning to the end, like yours, Ron. Ours was very similar. I couldn't believe the difference. And now the continuation, from when I was 52 to now being 61, I'm just with this technology, I'm just a way better version of myself. And I'm not going to stop aging, and I'm not going to stop, from getting older or whatever. But if I can do it gracefully, and if I can do it better, and if I can still play sports, and if I can still ski and water ski and do all the things that I love to do, then this technology is for everybody, not just for me. And so I think that's fantastic. So anyways, we're 5 minutes past the hour. So I'm going to end this call. Have you got any last comments, Ron?
No, I just think I highly encourage everyone out there to get this on as many, not just athletes, anybody. I think this applies, Terry, to all people. And what I've learned is that, these athletes are telling me they feel better, and aren't most people in the world looking to feel better on a day-to-day basis? So, this is a talk about athletics and how people are embracing the tech and what the results I'm seeing. But this should really apply to every single person out there, because everybody needs a little more focus in their life. Everybody needs to sleep better. Everybody needs to feel better. And I think when you factor all those things in, it's a win-win, no matter whether you're an athlete, a high-end athlete, or just a regular individual like most of us are right now, trying to feel better and be the better version of ourselves. So,
yeah, and I think the other thing is too is athletes recovery, because a lot of athletes play in pain, especially when it comes to playoff time or whatever. And so if we can reduce that pain, if we can reduce that struggle and improve the recovery, then those teams are all going to perform better. As you said, if they're all wearing it and so on. And I even know, just we all have a certain degree of athleticism in us. There's no question about that. But I even remember, my good buddy Paul Austin, who, he just said, yeah, go ahead, sign me up. And he put a box of socks way back when in the corner of the room, and they collected dust until he finally had pain in his knees from renovating stuff, and said, I'm going to try these technological socks, and saw an amazing improvement. Well, that could be applied to the same thing as an athlete that, has sore knees or sore hips from playing or whatever. Just get the stuff on and wear it, and remember that it is a process and not a pill. And so, Ron, on behalf of the field, great call. Thank you very much for taking the time to do this. If you guys have any questions, reach out in our Team Patchination Facebook group. Don't forget, everybody, we have our opportunity call and information call tomorrow night with Steve Schultz at 8 p.m. Eastern. So do your best to get anybody who's looking to learn more about this opportunity, about our technology. Leveraging these calls work very, very well for all of us to learn and do better at presenting this technology. So I'm going to ask everyone, if you want to unmute, say goodnight. That'd be great. Thank you all for being on the call, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week, God willing.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks, Terry.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
Ron. Thanks, Terry.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks, Terry.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.